Chesapeake church is under fire, accused of inappropriate discipline at its child daycare center. Deep Creek United Methodist Church sent a letter to parents saying that the Department of Human Services is investigating. 13 News Now reporter Jacqueline Lee joins us tonight from Chesapeake.
2 weeks ago, Child Protective Services launched an investigation here into Deep Creek United Methodist Church. Why? Well, according to the church's trustee, there was an allegation involving a staff member and a child's neck as a form of discipline. This letter sparked any parent's nightmare. Just ask Mom Victoria McCarthy, whose 1-year-old son went to the child care center since he was 3 months old.
Honestly, my first reaction is just outrage. Like, how could that be going on?
Deep Creek United Methodist Church telling parents that Child Protective Services launched an investigation over allegations of inappropriate discipline to children by staff members.
It's sad and it's scary, and I'm angry, and then I'm sad for my son and for these poor babies.
McCarthy didn't want to show her face on camera, but wanted to show what parents said online.
So this is a picture of one of the moms that's saying that their son was dragged out from under a table by another daycare worker.
Parents alleging staff members abused children behind closed doors.
Also, a picture taken of her dragging a child by the arm. She hit kids, screamed in their face, pulled by the ears, tied to chairs, held down to sleep, slammed to the floor. It goes on and on.
Off camera, former employees told me they aren't surprised. They say they even reported their concerns to church administration, but allege nothing was done. Church trustee Ted Ambrose said this is news to him.
In my role as a trustee, we were never made aware of any child safety issue.
Ambrose said Child Protective Services made them aware of one incident. 2 employees are now on administrative leave.
We really want to make this a safe place where people don't hesitate leaving their children.
You give someone your child expecting them to take care of them and love them how you would, and to hear something like that happen, I've been kind of crying about it all day.
A spokesperson with the Chesapeake Police Department says they are currently investigating one report of alleged abuse here at this church. There are no criminal charges filed at this time. In Chesapeake, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.